Alright, so let's start with the Lean Business Process Improvement Tool for Business Architect, Business Analyst, and Lean Practitioner. Basically, this tool is to give you the time to concentrate on innovation with your team, since all the calculations, the tables, the formatting, the 16 KPIs are already done. So you can focus on what's most important. The topic of this presentation: recommendations before you start, review of the sheets in the tools, the Excel tabs, and basically we're going to go through an instruction and live review of a process improvement example and look at the 16 KPIs and see how you can adapt it to your need. To ensure the protection of this template, you should always save it in a secure location as is, untouched. Before using the template, it is highly recommended that you read the instruction or video tutorial, which we're doing right now. This will prevent any maluse or any damage done to the template. You should input your information into a copy of the template, saved under your own chosen name. Important: the sheets on the templates are protected without password, so you can unprotect the sheets for any modification needed on your part. To avoid any template corruption, you should always reprotect the sheets. So before you start, but the most important thing here is the analysis sheet as well as the KPI sheets are using cells and ranges located in other sheets. So be careful if you add any rows or line in the actual and target sheets. It is highly recommended to not unprotect and modify the analysis sheets and the 2 KPI sheets. Alright, fast track business process improvements and automation. I like those 2 famous quotes here. Until we can manage time, we can manage nothing else. This is from Peter Drucker. Productivity is never an accident. It is always the result of commitment to excellence, intelligent planning, and focused effort. So you're going to see throughout this presentation, we're really going to look at time, value added time, non-value added times, and we're going to try to find ways to improve the process. Alright, so let's dive into the sheets and the tabs here. They're the ULAY that I just discussed, the main instruction, the actual process information, the target process information, the analysis tab with all the tables, and the KPIs. You have 2 tabs of KPI. One, it includes all the delay, and the other exclude all the delays. So let's take a look. Let's dive into the ULAY. So this is the end user agreement, which you can review here in all details. This is the first tab. Second tab is the instruction. So everything we're going to talk today is all written here with reference to the column here in the tabs. So we're going to talk about the task, value added, gateway, event, etc. The actual is the process steps that you're going to design in your Visio chart or other tool that you use to draft the Visio. So this is going to be the actual process that you will enter the information here. Basic information being the number of the task and then the various tasks. In this particular example, the process name is customer sales process, and department or owner is the sales department, and we're talking about the actual process. So there are 20 tasks in there, and basically these are the main information, and we're going to dive later on into deeper into the analysis of the actual. Target is the same thing. So you have the target process, the improved process, and if you open up the whole thing, then you're going to have all the information. It's not necessary to fill out all the information. Really, this tool is built for the experienced lean practitioner, as well as the novice person that wants to just have a good idea about the process, tasks, and the timing, which we'll see right after. So the analysis tab here shows you all the calculation that are done in the actual and target process. So you'll see here the value added and non-value added activities. You'll see the cycle time. We'll go through all that later on there. And the number of activities. We'll go to the cost for one instance of a process, and then the cost for, say, a week full of process. Suppose this one we have 320 occurrence of this process in a week. So that will help us to find the total cost of the process. So this is the analysis table. The KPI basically represent the table, but in a much user-friendly way to look at the results. So you have the cycle time results here in terms of the global cycle time, and then you have it by activity. We'll go through all that later on. And you have the cycle time here, the number of activities in the process before and after. And then we have the cost, for instance, $520 versus $94 for the new process, the improved process. And the total cost, suppose you have 320 occurrences in a week, you're going to see that it's cost $166,000. And the actual version and the improved version, it costs $30,000. Quite an improvement. Here is the same analysis, but excluding the delays. So we're going to talk about the delays later on when we go through the process. So basically, these are the tabs, these ones are protected. The KPIs are protected. The analysis is protected. If you look at the review here, you'll see that this tab is protected. Here you could unprotect here, like here I'm unprotecting it, then you can protect it. And then you just go like that here. Same thing for this one. And the list, basically you don't need to touch this. It's just the list that are used to build the KPIs here. So these are automatic, you don't need to touch it. Alright, so let's go back to the presentation and we'll dive into the process. It's going to be very interesting. So basically, review of a process improvement example. So what we're going to do, very simple, is going to be to capture the actual process steps. This is the first step. Second step is to analyze the time and efficiency with your team. So the value added, non-value added activities, you're going to analyze the time that it takes for those steps. And then you're going to have a look at the performance on the KPIs, the cycle time, the cost, the quality, etc. Then with your team, you're going to improve this process, find new ways to make it more automated, and improve it in terms of value added, and lower the cost, lower the cycle time. That's going to be the objective. And the last part is to complete your business needs and requirements for the project and use the data for your project evaluation and financial ROI. So that's the idea. So the instruction, so these are the step-by-step instruction. You can review it later, but basically we start at the define stage where you open up a Visio, and then with your team you just dive into the process, and you just like you do usually when you define your process, you make a map of the process and you define all the steps with your people. So basically this has been done on a Visio map, and you can see that we have the sales process, and we're going to go through the steps here quickly. So you have the customer that contacts the sales department, and there's a sales support person that's going to greet the customer and inquire for which product line and transfer the call to the proper department. Here, the sales rep of this particular department will answer the call and will identify the customer needs, will evaluate if it's a new client or not, create a customer profile, create a sales order, verify if any weekly special is available and update the sales order, verify if the product is in inventory and establish a lead time for it, complete the sales order, and then there's going to be a decision point where the sales order requires approval. In some cases it requires approval. So for example, if it's over $1,000, then the sales manager needs to approve it. So in that case, there would be a review and approved sales order by the sales manager. And then there's a question mark. Is the sales order approved? If no, then the sales order is going to be corrected by the sales rep. And then afterwards, the sales rep is going to send that order via email to the customer. Customer is going to receive an email, and he's going to send a purchase order by email to the company, and then the sales support person is going to receive this email, is going to call the customer and get the payment over the phone with the credit card. Once that is done, she's going to transfer the purchase order to the sales rep that's responsible for it, and the sales rep is going to close the sale order and send the order to production. So basically 20 steps. Now this is the fictitious example. When you look at it with your team and you measure and you analyze the process, actually this is what we're going to do together. We're going to analyze the process, look at the task, the value-added tasks, the gateway, the event, the value-added, and then see if there's any transport or traveling, which is non-value-added. And then we're going to look if there's some delay or waiting time at the activity steps. Note, be aware that the hourly rate that you set in the formula in the analysis sheet will be used to calculate the cost of the delay and waiting time. With that in mind, this is why we have two KPI sheets. One that includes the delay, which is very useful to get the proper cycle time, but the other one excludes the delay, which is useful to get the overall process cost. So that's why we're going to always look at the two KPIs there to have the proper information according to your need. Approval steps, which is, non-value added. Most of the time, customer don't really want to spend, money to approve a step. And then it's going to be inspection, correction step, search, whether the search for a document, search for a tool, search for people. This is a non-value added activity, or other non-value added activity that you may encounter. So when you do your process on Visio, if you're not aware, you can export the information on an Excel sheet that's going to show you the steps, all the 20 steps that you had there, with the the task name and the shape number, and whether it's a task or a decision point, or if it's the end event or the start event here. So this will save you time, because once you have that exported, you just copy paste those information directly in the tool there. So basically you would copy it here for the numbering and here for the process steps. So basically with your team, what you want to do is to quantify, because if you want to evaluate if the process is efficient, then you have to measure it. If you don't measure it, you don't have an idea. So basically how it works is simple, is you go through the steps here, and say the start, if you put a time here, this is 0.01 minute. This is all the time that you put in the tool is all in minutes. Later on, for the table, you can adjust it to hours or days or weeks, but for the step information here, you input the time in minutes. And for example, the start, it's really quick. It's like a fraction of a minute. So the idea here is to put the time, even as very minimal, like 0.01 minute, because it's gonna count the step. If you don't put a time here, it's not gonna count the step start here. So basically, as a best practice, you put a time, but very, very minimal. And it's in green, so it's value added, because it's part of the value added step. So basically, you go for, say, customer contact sale. It takes about a minute, but here you can notice that we've put a 5 minute here in a comment. The customer wait on the line. He waits for 5 minutes average. And this is not really good, but you want to put it because in the cycle time, it's going to show you that, hey, there's a point there we're losing sometimes. And also the customer is not so happy about waiting 5 minutes on the line. So you want to put this delay here. So the total time for this is going to be 6 minutes. The 1 minute that the customer makes the call, for example, and then the 5 minutes of waiting time. Greet customer and inquire for which product line and transfer the call to the proper department. Let's say this takes about 0.5, like 30 seconds. But again, when the sales assistants transfer the call, usually it takes 3 minutes to get to the proper department, and then the sales rep is going to answer the call. So basically there's a 3 minute waiting time on that, which makes 3.5 minutes. So right now you can see that automation could really help in these circumstances. But that's the idea. When we decide to put the timer, the delay, this is going to highlight the need for automation. Identify customer need. Let's say it takes about 8 minutes, but during that time, the sales rep has to search for some information somewhere, look at the file, and there's a little bit of loss of time. There are 2 minutes of loss of time. Now the question mark, new client, this is a decision. Again, it doesn't take time, because usually you make the decision at the step before. The decision point doesn't take time, so it's 0.01 minute, let's say. Create customer profile, let's say it takes about 5 minutes, value added. create the sales order. Let's say it takes 7 minutes, but most of the time the person is not available to create the customer order, the sales order right away, and comes back, say, 30 minutes after, because the process is a little bit complicated. And in that case, there's a 30-minute waiting time. So the sales rep cannot respond to the customer right away. It's going to be like a 30-minute delay. This is all fictionist, by the way, but it's just to give you an idea of what's happening and also how we record the information. Step number 8, verify if any special is available and update the sales order. Let's say that takes 0.2 minutes. It doesn't take long, but the person has to look into an Excel file there to see if there's some special this week. So there's a 1 minute loss there in time. And here, verify if the product is in inventory. It doesn't take time to make the decision, but the person has to go like 5 minutes, look at go in the plant and spend 5 minutes to see if the product is in inventory. And also he has to search 5 minutes for some information. So basically there's some loss of time there. And then complete the sales order. It takes 3 minutes. Sales order required approval. Takes like a fraction of a minute just to make the decision. Let's say over $1,000, it goes to the sales manager. Otherwise, it goes to the next step. And then let's say it goes to the next step. Send the sales order to the customer via email. So the person writes the email. It takes 4 minutes and sends it to the customer. Or the sales manager has to approve the sale order. So it's an approval step. It takes about 5 minutes for him to do the approval, but he's never available to do it right away. There's always a delay, say an hour when he gets back to his desk. So there's a loss of time here. So a 16 minutes loss of time. Step 13 is the sales order approved. That goes fast, 0.02 minutes. Correct the sales order. In some cases, they need to correct it. Let's say it takes about, it takes about 5 minutes to correct or 10 minutes, but it doesn't happen often. Say 1 out of 5 it happens. So let's say it takes 3 minutes to inspect and correct the sales order. It doesn't. Overall, it takes about average like three minutes if there were to be like a correction every sales order. Let's say it happens only once, then that might take, let's say, 6 minutes. And then the sales rep is not available all the time to do this correction, so with the time that he gets back to his desk takes about 30 minutes. So there's a waiting time here. So see, the waiting times are important because at the end it's going to show the cycle time, the real cycle time. So basically, sales order is corrected, and then customer has received the sales order. Now there's a step. He accepts the email. It takes 5 minutes. But the customer is not always on his desk. It's the same thing there, so he can send the sales or the purchase order, say 16 minutes afterward. So there's a 16-minute delay here. Call a customer to get payment over the phone. So this is the sales assistant who received the order. But it takes 5 minutes to do, but she's not available always. But in 30 minutes, she's going to be available. So there's a 30-minute loss of time there. And then she gets calls the customer and gets the customer to pay over the phone. And then send the purchase order to the sales representative. So that takes a minute. It's not really value added. It's another activity which is really not value added. It should go direct to the sales rep. Then the sales rep is not at his desk. He's going to be back in 60 minutes. It takes 8 minutes to close a sales order and send the order to production. And basically that's the end. So that's the end of the process. So basically what we're going to do now is we're going to look at all the other information that you can input into the tool there, which are not mandatory, but it will help you sort of detail what's happening with the actual process. So this is the instruction. You can see all the columns here, A, B, C, D. It gives you the information about what's in the column, but we're going to go through that together. All right? So let's go through it. So we just went to the customer contact sales here and the previous slides, and then we went through the the task here, 1 minute and 3 minute waiting. But here we are at the customer, the first step. So the other column, which are optional, really, if you want to go through it, you can go through it. And basically here you just click and you choose which BPMN form that you're using. Is it like the start event, or is it a task, or is it a gateway? So you just choose what it is here. You can write a little description here how you accomplish the task. This is optional. And here you establish the RAS key. Who's accomplishing the task here? So basically you write here at the top the various actors that are implicated in this process. For this process, we're talking about the customer, the sales support person, the sales rep, and the sales manager. So basically all the steps you go through here, and you say, okay, customer contact sales, this is the customer. And then to greet the customer, it's going to be the sales support person who's responsible, but the customer is in support here. And here you have the identify customer needs, so that's the sales rep who's responsible for it. And so on. You just move on there. Every task, you just assign the roles. It could be a role of a person, it could be the department, it could be the business unit, whatever you decide there. And then here, the artifacts. So if you want to detail furthermore, you can detail here what's the input for every task here and what's the output. For example, here, identify customer need. The output is customer needs identified. And then create the customer profile. The new customer profile is created as the output. And then input, output, it's the same principle. So if you want to put the input and output, it may be useful later on. If you have to follow a certain policy, for example, sales order request approval, suppose you have a rule which says the sales over $1,000 must be approved by the sales manager, you could put this rule or this policy right here. It will help you understand how the process goes, how this task goes here, how do you make the decision if there's a rule. If there's a risk, for example, here, first task, customer contact sales. There's a risk if customer wait too long on the phone, they might find alternative vendor. So that might be a risk. Here, you may have like a control, or you may have like a KPI, for example, review and approve the sales order. Then you may be interested to know what percentage of sales order are free of error. So that's, if you have any KPI associated to any step, you could write it down here. Now if you continue, for every task here, you can define what technology or what assets you're using. So this is very useful at the top here, you just write down the various possibilities that are used in your company. For example, email or post office, or you just telephone the person, or you're using MS Teams, for example, to do a certain task, or it could be the web, your web system online is used to do any kind of task. It could be the CRM, the ERP. Application 1, you can write the name of the application, Azure, for example, or it could be like an Excel sheet, whatever. So this is used to show which tools, which technologies or assets you're using in order to complete the tasks. It's very useful because at the end, you can combine, you can look at this Excel sheet here and you can see, okay, there's like 3-step where we use like a telephone conversation, or we're using the CRM, or we're not using this app here, but we could be using it. So that's very useful. Now, when you review the process step with your team, you can always add some hints about how those steps are going. For example, customer contact sales. Maybe when you do your review there with your team members over the visual chart there, maybe the people that understand the process, say the sales rep is going to tell you, hey, the customer is very often not happy about it. So this performance column is to write, basically it's either like a 1, and when you put a 1 there, when you click on it, you put a 1, you're gonna see the green check. If you put a 0, it's gonna be the question, like it gets so question mark. And if you put the -1, you're gonna see a red here. And basically when you see a red, it's like, hey, there's a potential for improvement. So that's the idea. With the team, you just want to have like a quick vision about where's the red, where can we improve. For example, red here, loss of time searching. And then in your business needs here, eventually you'll say, okay, add a special field on the ERP to get updated with the, for example, the weekly special. So you could write the business needs here as you go along. Usually you do that at the very end, the second step, when you design the target process, and then you establish your business needs here. It's going to help you to do all your requirement, your business needs here. So these are the fields that you can use. Basically, same thing, step number 13 to 29. So who's responsible to do those steps? And the artifacts, like the input and output, and the KPI. And same thing here, the performance here. Any potential for improvement? Yes, there's a red waste. There's an error on 5% of the order, waste of customer time here, waste of sales admin time here, like business needs. As you go along there, most of the time you will write that on the target process. And basically at the very bottom, you're going to see the calculation here, the automatic calculation, duration in hours for the total time here. This is in minutes. And then duration and for the delay, excluding the delay, and number of activities total, and number of activities without the delay, which is like eight activities with delays. Total activity 32, but without the delay you have 24 activities. So these information are used to build the tables that we're going to see right after. So basically you've got your process that you've analyzed with your team. You've got your red area here with great potential for improvement. Your yellow, which you may improve as well, and the green, there's not a lot of green here, but it gives you an idea of the process, potential for improvement. Now, we're going to look at the analysis table, and we're going to adjust the cycle time, the number of hours per working days and all that. So let's go to the detail of that. So basically, the analysis here, the first table at the top, you have the number of minutes, including the delays. So basically, you have all the tasks, the gateway, the transport, the delay on the waiting. So this the amount of minutes that you're losing on the process, the approval, inspection, correction. And this is the same table but without the delay. You're going to see later on, it's going to help us on the KPI, because we're going to have a KPI with the delay and a KPI without the delay. Here, if you want to have the cycle time, you have to establish how many hours a day you're working. So this 7 here, you just click on it and you put the number of days. Are you working like 7 hours a day, 8 hours, 10 hours, 24 hours? So you put your number of hours per day and number of days per week, and you adjust the duration in hours or minutes or weeks or hours. And this is going to help you have the cycle time and the duration that you decide here. So in this case, we decide that we want to have hours. So here we have the actual duration, 5.8 hours with the delay, but without the delay, you're at 1.1 hours. And the value added time, 0.8%, 0.4% of non-value, which means 68% excluding the delays. If you include the delays, you have 13.5% value added time. So this is for the actual process. For the target, we're going to see later on. We'll review that later on. So here you can see the activities including the delays. So this is like the detail of this table here. All right. And here you have the process cycle time, 5.8 hours with including the delay. And here process activities with excluding the delay. So you can see that you have 46 minutes. These are in minutes of activities. And here you have the gateway, the event, transportation, traveling, delay, waiting. See here waiting, you have 278 minutes of waiting time that are lost time, really. Approval, inspect, etc. And here you have without the delay. And without the delay, cycle time of 1.1 hours. So that's the actual. So basically, once you will have done the first process, the actual, you look at the table with your team. You're not gonna see the target, but you're gonna see the actual. So the first bar, you're gonna see it here. And then you're gonna have this process on video. Me, I like to put it visual, so you put some colors, your team can review it and all that. And then you work with your team on the improvement. So basically this is the target. So as you can see on the target, we added an automated CRM line for send the sales order to customer via email. This is now done automatically, so we're saving time here. And also here, automated greeting. So the phone is going to do the greeting and it's going to transfer to the department right away. and we combine some other tasks here to save time. So this is the target. So this is where you want to go. So basically, you've designed that with your team, and what we're going to do here is we're going to review this target sheet here together. So basically, we're doing the customer contact sales. That's the same thing. Greet the customer. So we have the automated. So this is the responsible now, the new person, and then identify customer needs. Then the sales rep is gonna take over the the analysis. Is it a new client? Create the customer profile, create the sales order, complete including the weekly special applicable. He's gonna all do that in one step, no loss of time now. And here, sales order required approval. That's the same thing. Send a sales order customer via email. So the sales rep is going to do it. Review and approve the sales order. That's the same thing here. So the artifact, you adjust it. And basically you go on with the other information here. So you can see here now we have a green automated greeting and switching to project department here. And here we have sales order generated automatically with the customer info, including weekly special applicable in stock. So we have a green here. We've reduced the time. We've reduced the delay here. So the idea is to go through the new process with your team, and then you go through the chart, the map, and then after that you come back to this sheet here and you just fill it out with your team and figure out the time that you think now it's going to take to accomplish the tasks. In some cases, if we have a lot of occurrence of a process in a week or in an hour, it may be important to take actual data. So it's really up to you to decide if you want to take a sample, say a sample of, I don't know, it could be like a 30 orders that have happened in the past, and you want to, build your actual times based on real time. Then you could take like a sample of 30 and analyze it thoroughly. But if it's you just want to have a gut feel most of the time with your team there that you're working on to establish a process, they usually have a good idea of the average time that it takes. And then when you build the target time, then you can shoot for a time. I mean, sometimes precision is not required. Really, you want to have a gut feel, and with the gut feel, you can process the information and get interesting results. So basically, you go on and on through the steps here. Step 11 to 15, the same thing. We've got some green here. Customer DocuSign purchase order automatically and pay. So this is like a step. It's going to make the life easy for the customer. It's going to take 2 minutes, no delay. It's sent automatically to the sales rep right afterwards, and then he's going to complete the sales order and send the order to production with a minimum loss of time. Now, this is the idea, and at the end of the target, you're going to see the total, and then again we come back to the analysis table, which we've reviewed before, like 7 hours per day, 5 days per week. We want the cycle an hour, and then basically you've got the 2 sheets that I showed you before with the the process time excluding delay, 1.1 hours, but the new cycle, it's like 0.5 hours. So you've improved like really, from 1.1 to, to 0.5 is really good. Value added times, you're at 0.5, but non-value added hours, you're at 0. So really good improvement. And if we go into the details, well, these are the details here. If we go to the next one, including the delay, excluding the delay, so these are the number of activities. So we went from 12 to 8. The delay on waiting, we went from 8 to 5 activities. We still have an approval process here, but that's basically here. The search here, excluding the delay, we went from 3 to 1, so which is an improvement. And so basically, including the delay, we're going from 32 activities total, 17 value added, 15 non-value added, so 52%. If we go excluding the delay, we're at 24 activities, 17 value added, 7 non-value added, so we're at 70%. So let's go into the graphic. I focus on the graphic all the time. So basically the number of activities total, we go from 32 to 21. The number of value-added activities, non-value-added activities, we went from 15 to 8. That's really good. Still potential for improvement. This is excluding the delay. So we go from 24 to 16 activities. And basically, that's it. And now we're going the cost side. So basically, in the analysis sheet, you just establish the hourly rate. You talk to your financial manager and say, what's the average hourly rate applicable? Then you put the rate, and you're gonna have the rate here multiplied by the time, and then you're gonna get the graphic here, including the delay, that it costs like $520 for one instance of a process. This is the actual process, but the new process, $94. Bear in mind, this is including the delay. So really, when we look at the cost, I like to look at it without the delay most of the time. But in some cases, the delay could be like a person waiting online, say at the bank, or waiting, I don't know, at someone's desk for somebody to answer, or it could be in the plant waiting for the lift truck to come. So that's the cost may be important in these circumstances. But okay, so this is the including the delay, but without the delay, excluding the delay, for the cost, this is what it costs. So this is the hard cost of the process, $103 when in the first scenario, and here we reduce to $47. So this is like a great improvement. We're like 87% value added cost here. We went from 68% to 87%. And we can see here, transportation, we just eliminated it. Approval, we reduced it. Inspect, correct, we reduced it. So basically, this is the overall cost. And the final, the target, really we're at $47, 41 value added, and just $6 non-value added. So this is really significant. These are the KPI that I use most of the time. The cost and the cycle time are the one that are used. Now the total cost, which you, in the analysis sheet, you just figure out for you. For example, if you decide I want to evaluate the total cost for a week, because in a week I have 320 times, this 320 times this process that is happening, then you're going to have the total cost for 1 week. We can choose by the hour, you can choose by the day there, it's up to you. But if you choose the week, you're going to have the table here and the overall table for the process cost, and then you look at the chart here. So if you include the delay, the total cost here is $166,000 for the week for 320 instances, where the target is down to $30,000, including the delay. So this is really, when you look at the total, this is going to help you build your business case for the automation and all the other good things that you want to do with the process, whether it be like develop a new app for automation or bring a new technology, whatever. So this is included in the delay. If we exclude the delay, then we come at the total cost of $33,000, and the target would be $15,000. So there's a lot of improvement, like $15,000 in a week. So you can figure out that 52 weeks, it's going to be like a lot of dollars at the end of the year. So really, these KPIs, they help build the business case in order to build this automation that you want to create. So in a nutshell, we came with an actual process here with 20 steps. We have a new process with 15 steps. We built in a little bit of automation here with the automatic responder here, and with the CRM automation, which brings like a significant amount of process cost reduction. So basically what we've done the improvement of the process, and then now it's up to us to make the control part of it. At this point, write your own more detailed business requirements and evaluate the implementation cost and timetable. See if the benefit found in the KPIs analysis outweigh the implementation cost. If yes, implement the total solution and enjoy your improved, optimized process. All right, I meant to talk about the printing of the various sheets there. We're at the analysis sheet, so all the settings for the viewing of the tables are there, and you're going to see the first one, the second one, third table, etc., all the way to the end. So you can print PDF, you can do screenshots here, you can print with pictures, use the pictures in your PowerPoint presentation. So that's very useful. Same thing with the KPI here. You just go at the top, and then you have all the screenshots of the 8 KPIs. This is including delay. So you can capture screenshot, you can print PDF, the same thing here. So you have it all. So like that, and this one here. All right. So you've got all the chart over here. Previously, I forgot to make a little correction here at the very bottom. The total is really in minutes, so duration is in minutes here at the bottom, and this is used in the analysis sheets and the KPIs and all that. If you want to print that sheet here, it's all set up for printing. You just go like this, print here, and you'll see it goes from left to right at the top, and then there's a lot of empty space, and then you have the bottom. So same thing with the target. All right. So basically, this is what we have done: the Lean Business Process Improvement Tools summary. We've captured the actual process step. We analyze the time and efficiency with your team, value-added, non-value-added activities. We saw the actual performance with the KPIs, the cycle time, the cost, the quality. We improved the process and we compared it with the target versus the actual process. And basically now you're ready to complete your business needs and requirements for your product and use the data for your project evaluation and financial ROI. So I'd like to thank you very much for your attention. Please leave us your comment and review about how the tool has helped you and good success with your project. Cheers.